Hey guys, today we are working on page 110 and then page 111 in your workbook. So today we're going to be talking about taking an equation, making a table from it, creating a graph, finding slope, all things that we've been doing, but just focusing more on the equation. So we see this equation right here, 2x plus 5, and the first thing I would do is I would use 0. So what I'm doing is I'm taking, since this is my x, I'm going to take 0 and put it into my equation where x goes. So this is really saying 2 times 0, which is 0, plus 5 is going to get me y. So when I put 0 in, I get 5 as my answer for y. So now what I would do is I would use my rate of change, which is right here in my equation, my 2. So it's changing by 2 every 1. So I would use that to figure out the rest of my table. So 5 plus 2 is 7, 7 plus 2 is 9, and then you can go the opposite way too. So instead of going up 2, you can go back 2. So -1 would be +3 there. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to plot those points. So -1, 1, 2, 3, 0, 5, 1, 7, and 2, 9. And I'm going to grab a straight edge. I'm going to draw my straight line. Okay? Alright. So, now we're going to find the slope of this line. I'm going to do it using the graph. So, I'm going to do my rise over run. So I'm going to choose 2 points. I'm going to choose points that are close to each other. So I'm going to use these two since they're graph, or the line goes through them better. So my rise would go up 2, and then my run would be over 1. So my slope of this line is going to be 2 over 1. Or if you wanted to just leave it as 2, that would be fine as well. Okay? So number 3 asks us, where do you see the slope? Okay, so we just found the slope 2. Where do we see that in our original equation? Okay, so I see it to the left of the x. Okay, so then letter 4, what is the y-intercept of the line? Basically what that means is, where does the line that we drew cross this axis? Okay, so I'm looking at my y-axis. I'm going to go up to my line, and it crosses right here at 0, 5. So what is the y-intercept of this line? 5. Okay, and then our final question on this page, where do you see the y-intercept in the equation? If we look at our equation, that 5 is right there at the end. So where do I see my y-intercept? At the ends. Or after x. Okay? Alright, let's go to page 111. So we're kind of doing the same thing here. We're going to use our equation to make a table, then the graph, and then we'll come up with the slope and the y-intercept. I would suggest doing at least one negative number, so I'm going to choose easy numbers. -1, 0, 1, and 2. You can use other numbers, that's fine, but these numbers will be easy to graph and just easier to work with. So again, first thing I would do is I'd take my x is 0 and I'd put it in. So if I cover that up, my y would be -2. Okay? And it's changing by 5 every time. So I'm just going to add 5 to -2, which is 3. And then add 5 to 3, which is 8. And then I can also go backwards. So -2 minus 5 is -7. Okay? Then I plot those points. 0, -2, negative 1, negative 7, 1, 3, and then 2, 8. Then use your straight edge. To connect your points. There we go. There's my line. And then slope. Remember, our form for a line is y equals mx plus b. So m is our slope. So in that spot to the left of the x in my problem is 5. So the slope of my line is 5. My y-intercept, I would go to the graph and I would look and I'd see, okay, it crosses right here at negative 2. Another way to find out where your y-intercept is when x equals 0, the answer is your y-intercept. For instance, when I put 0 in here for x, 5 times 0 is 0, so those would like kind of cancel out, and that would be y equals negative 2, which is my y-intercept. Okay? Alright, let's go down to number 7. Again, I'm going to just choose negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. If I put 0 in for x, that would be canceled, and so I'd get 1. Then my rate of change, or my slope, is 3. So I'm going to add 3 every time. So 1 plus 3 is 4, 4 plus 3 is 7, and then 1 minus 3 is negative 2. So then I'm going to graph these. Negative 1, negative 2, 0, 1, 1, 4, and then 2, 5, 6, 7. Use my straight edge to draw the line. That looks pretty good. Okay. So my slope, I can look at my equation. It's always to the left of the x, as long as it's in that standard form. And then my y-intercept is always that 1 at the end, so 1. Okay? And then our last one for today, number 8. So y equals 4x. Again, for x, I'm going to just put in my negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. And then if I put 0 in for x, I have nothing that's adding or being added to it or subtracted from it, so it's just going to be 0. So when I put negative 1 in for x, negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. My rate of change is 4, so 0 plus 4, 4 plus 4 is 8. Okay? You can also just like take these x values and just put them in. So if I wanted to, or if it were different numbers that were harder to like judge how much it goes up by, you could just do 2 times 4 is 8 and you'll get your answer. Okay? Then we graph. Negative 1, negative 4, 0, 0, 1, 4, and 2, 5, 6, 7, 8. We graph our line. And then the easiest way is to look at our equation, because slope is always to the left of the x, as long as it's in standard form. So the slope here is 4. And then my y-intercept. So in this case, I don't have a plus anything. So I'm going to look at when x is equal to 0, what's my y value? And in this case, it's 0. If that doesn't work for you, you can always look at your graph and see where does my line cross the y-axis. and in this case it does cross at the 0. That's it for the notes today, guys. Have a good one.